Okay, so this is coming to you from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. This is a 2.25 mile, 13-turn road course. And so we're here leading on to the front stretch. Here's the start finish line right here, the Honda stand, heading towards turn one. Turn one, uh, brake about the 100 marker here. Is it the 100 marker? Yeah. As we're approaching the 100 marker, I brake. This is a surprisingly tough turn. Not quite sure why. Visibility is definitely part of it. You got to brake in a straight line right here, and then get back off the brake and turn in here, but not too far because you have this curb here. And so this curb separates the pit out area here on the left from the racetrack. So you can touch the curb and get on the curb, but if you go inside of the curb, this is going to be a penalty for cutting the track. Um, it's kind of a unique scenario uh, there that you have the curb coming out into a turn and a fast turn nonetheless. So you can drift out all the way wide here. I never seemed to quite um, carry as much speed as I could through there. It's difficult. Here, turn two is also a little bit tricky. We brake about the 200-meter sign, or when I lose visibility of the 200-meter sign. So my visibility is about, I don't know, 45 degrees or so here to the left and right. Let's look at that real quick. So what I'm saying is I normally hit the brakes when I get to about right here. You can see the brakes starting to come on right there because that 200-meter sign is right there. Tricky thing here is kind of seeing the where the entrance to that turn is, where the inside of that turn is. I generally end up staying too far to the left. It's really hard to see though as you come up on it because there's kind of a rise in the track here and it kind of dips down a little bit right at that turn. You want to kind of drift out wide in the middle of that turn and then cut back in. I stayed a little too far inside this whole time, and then so I wasn't able to carry as much speed as I would like to through there. Let's switch back to the other view. It's probably a little easier to see. It's a little bit higher um, angle. Okay. You have a long stretch here. There's a kind of a dogleg bend in it coming up here, so you want to stick close to these cones to take the shortest line around the shortest distance around the track there. And then as you come up to this turn here, you brake about the 300-meter sign, this second of these two signs here. So when I lose visibility of it, right about here is about when I hit the brakes. You can see I'm starting to come onto the brake right here. Just about, I don't know, 2% or something on the brake right now. Um, this is a pretty fun turn. Uh, it's banked, so it gives you a little more confidence. You can slide the car a little bit. And I also like to trail brake in here, meaning carrying the braking into the turning area, where normally you'd get off the brake uh, while you're still kind of in a straight line, or maybe as you're just starting to turn. Here you can carry a little bit more brake into the turn, and we'll see what I mean here. Uh, I'm still on the brake, still on the brake, still on the brake, turning. I'm on the brake, even got off it and back on it right here. You can still 10% brake, 10% or so, and back finally back off of it. And we're already like halfway. We're exiting the turn, so I could have got off the brake earlier. Should have got off the brake earlier. And then that sets you up for this next turn here. You need to swing out kind of wide and then turn in. I didn't get out quite wide enough, and that was, I think, a mistake I was continually kind of making to be able to be. So I had to have the car more turned at this point and being able to be on the throttle um, earlier. If I had the car turned another 15, 20 degrees, I could be full throttle right here at this point instead of still trying to turn the front of the car, which gets tougher as you go through this turn because the track drops away. So it gets even harder to turn the car the farther you get into it. So I consistently did that wrong. Or I could have gotten a little more out of it, I should say. A lot of up and down through right here. It's pretty fun. You got to get on the brake hard here for a second and then back off of it. Try to get the car turned enough and stay close enough to the inside to take a short line around and be careful not to drift out too wide here. You can see it's pretty close to the edge there. Coming up on this turn here. Uh, I don't think you need to brake as hard as I've been doing through here. Also, I drifted out wide with like a car length off of the car width off the apex there easily. Um, so that could have been tighter. This turn is not that difficult. It's a little weird. It's off camber. It's kind of slow. Downshifting a little bit, going through here, playing with the throttle a little bit. Then you got to get back on the throttle hard to get back on the front straight and carry that speed through. So that's a lap here at Mid Ohio. Let's go ahead and get to the race and see how that went. So we qualified. Where did we qualify? 11th. And so, all right, let's get to the start. Decent launch. Kind of started looking to the right, and the 8 car in front of me looked like he was gonna um, kind of block that move or take that line, so I had to back out of it. And you can see from the throttle here, I jumped out of the throttle in order to make this move, tried not to touch the brake, and then back on the throttle hard. So I lost a little bit of momentum from that block, but I thought I could get around him, and I was right. I still was able to get around him there. So I think that was the safest move. It would have been in. So these guys here, a normal braking marker on a normal lap is the 200 sign when I get about to lose the 200 sign from visibility, like 45-degree angle sort of to my left here. And these guys are braking. I felt like they were going a little bit slower and braking earlier than that, and which is fine for the first lap, but like only so much. Like, come on, we can carry a little more speed. So this car should have jumped to the right. These guys are kind of um, sort of blocking each other, trying to block the inside line, being defensive there. And so didn't feel like just following the car in front of me. I went ahead and went for the inside move too. But now I can't use all the track on exit because I have a car to my left there, but still made it work. Let's switch cameras here for a bit. So I think there's about 20 or so cars in the race, 20, 22, something like that. Definitely some fast guys in the front. Maybe we should take a look at that a little bit. Um, let's move up a little bit, see what these guys are doing. This guy's starting to check out here, starting to pull away from the rest of the field. Let's move back through the field. So we're crossing the line right here. So now we are in 8th position. So we gained 3 spots on that first lap. Somebody hit a cone. That's what knocked that cone out into the middle there. So let's back that up for a second. This might be interesting to ride along with. So we're coming towards our turn 2 into our braking zone. I'll go half speed. Braking about here. Car in front of me is braking a little earlier, a little harder than I would like to. And he drifted a lot wide, so I went to go up the inside. Um, but I just didn't want to force the issue. Um, wasn't really up next to him uh, going through the exit of that turn, so sort of backed out of it a little bit. And I think that was smart because he ended up kind of closing the door there on exit. Or maybe he just saw I was far enough back. Unclear. Oops. me switch the switch the field of view here. This bugs me. I'm just used to much closer field of view. Um, there we go. So you can see there's quite a few cars bunched up here. I feel like that blue car is kind of slowing down. 3 cars up is kind of slowing down the white car. And the 10 car kind of isn't sort of getting close enough. I feel like we can go a little bit quicker. I don't want to lose contact with those the other pack of 3 cars farther up. We're running 8th still. You see the blue car up there had locked up the brakes. That's what the smoke that we saw. So when you see 2 cars battling for position, they're basically slowing each other down if they're getting side by side a little bit. They're compromising their lines. This turn is even tougher when you're behind somebody, kind of hitting your marks and seeing exactly where you need to turn in and how much room to exit you have. Got another good draft here. Take another peek on the inside. I was able to make that work. Let's look at that from maybe a different angle here. Go half speed. So went ahead and ducked to the inside right before the braking area. Uh, Outbraked, and then it was good. So he would have seen me in the mirror coming up uh, under braking and decided, okay, this is happening. But he had already kind of left the door open, so I felt quite good about this. All right, let's back that one up again. So what's happening here is this white and blue car had been kind of battling for a bit here. You can see they're going side by side, and maybe we'll do this from onboard too. Um, so I see they've been kind of fighting for a position there, challenging each other quite a bit, and so it looks like the white car is probably going to pull off the pass or has a good chance to. He's got the inside line going into this kind of long right hander coming up. So I decide I want to get as close to the back of that white car as possible uh, to sort of freight train the 7 car, the blue car. If the white car is going to get by, maybe I can just be right behind him and get by as well. Is my plan. Which means I got to be excellent under braking coming into this turn 3, I think it is up here. So I go ahead and follow the normal racing line and go out a little bit wider because I can get the draft off either one of these guys. Uh, so I'll get the draft off the 7 car, hit my braking perfect. Their braking is going to be compromised because they're side by side. They can't do what they would each do if they were by themselves coming through here. The white car can't. He's on a inside line, so he's got to make a tighter turn. He's got to slow down a little bit more. The blue car here is on the outside line, can't cut all the way down to the apex of the turn, so he's got to brake a little bit earlier. Me, I got the draft off of the 7 car here, and I don't have anybody to my inside. I can take the optimal line. I can use the full width of the track while neither one of these guys in front of me can. So the danger here for me is only that what if the 7 car expects this and chops down anyway right behind the 2 car and closes off that hole that I have. I don't think he's I didn't think he could uh, do it quick enough or safely enough. I figured if he tried it, he'd probably spin out, but I didn't really think about it that hard. I was just figuring I can get through here quicker than these 2 can because they're side by side. All right, let's continue. So I just got to get the nose in there, and I do. I get the nose in there. He's going to be hearing over the radio or seeing the mirrors, car on your right. So now I'm to his right, but I got to leave him room because he's to my inside here. I'm going to get back on the throttle good coming out of here and then beat him through the next turn. So what typically happens, so that all worked out. So the danger spot is coming up right here. Um, so I got the preferred line coming in here. I have a good line coming in here. I have the inside. Normal racing line is a little bit wider, like you see this white car up here. So the danger with this is he's carrying a little bit more speed or has a better line going into here. So it's really easy for him to rear end me as we get through the middle of that into the middle of that turn. Right coming into here, I'm not carrying as much speed as he is. So right there is usually where people get rear-ended of pulling off this inside pass. Is the other car uh, has the wider line in, sees there's somebody coming in, and just carries their normal amount of speed in there when really they got to kind of break a little bit more because there's somebody coming across in front of them on a tighter line is just not going to have the speed. So luckily he didn't touch us. It got kind of close there, but uh, we all lived. Switch cameras here. So I got the 7 car on my butt, and I would expect him to be pretty interested in trying to pass me back. Um, he just lost 2 positions. So I'm just trying to drive perfect here. I feel like the 7 car behind me is probably a little bit quicker than me, um, but we were able to get by. Missed the apex quite a bit there. See if we can get a little bit wider camera angle here. It might be a little bit better. See what's going on. So at this point, we are running sixth place. This is a 16 lap race. We're on lap 4. So I'm car number 13. Um, I'm ranked 13th best basically out of this group. I got the number 2 car in front of me, the number 5 car behind me, and there's 3 cars battling up there for what's that got to be? Second, third, and fourth up in front of the white car. And I can see them. They're close enough. So I'm pretty happy with how the race is going. Oh, somebody locked it up going into. Let's back this up for a second. Let's watch these second, third, and fourth battle for position. This might be kind of interesting. One of these guys. So these guys are going side by side. Thought I saw tire smoke out of this group. These guys seem to be battling pretty hard. I've raced against Bob there, the third one in this group, before. He's really consistent, really clean. But these 2 guys in front of him, this white car and this light blue and yellow car, 4 car, Hellmans, they really seem to be slicing and dicing a bit here at some point. And I could see all this from a distance. They're back in the same turn where the pass was made earlier, I believe, and now the situation's reversed. Wow, very close. Close racing there. Let's try watching this from, might be easier to see what's going on here from on board Bob's car here. Wow, they break a little earlier than I expected for that turn. Using all the track. Defensive line going into two. Leaving each other just enough room. Jockeying around for drafting and holding the inside line, which would be preferred, kind of coming up defensively for this upcoming right-hander. Touched it a little bit there. Oh, now Bob's starting to get into the mix here. Let's go ahead and jump back to our race here. So we're still sitting here. Well, the car that was in front of us, I think he spun off, made a mistake going through this turn, I believe it was, a couple laps back, a lap or two back. We missed that, but now we're closing up on the back of Bob here. We're trying to. They got side by side coming out of there. Actually, maybe we want to jump back a little bit. Uh, see what happened with. Okay, we got the two car in front of us, so we had to jump back to lap 7. Let's stay with this view. Let's see if we could see what happens to this two car in front of us. So we dove up the inside there. Not a typical place to pass. Let's back that up for a second. So this is just a split second opportunity coming through here. Um, I felt like the two car was being a little bit uh, uh, gentle on the braking coming into this turn, I had noticed. And also, I noticed on this lap, he's a little bit too wide. Um, it's better to be, I feel like it's better to be closer to this inside curb to take a shorter line around here. And so I saw a little bit of an opening there, and he kind of straightened the car out for braking. And I kind of did my braking on with the wheel turned a bit, and got to his inside. And so now he can't take this turn like he normally would, like these guys up here, and use this inside curb because I'm to his inside. So now he's got to slow down a little bit more and lose more time going through here than he would with a kind of outside wider line. So I basically made him compromise his line uh, because he didn't brake late enough here. He could have been closer to that car. He just wasn't on the throttle hard enough through here and got on the brakes a little bit early, I felt like. And so went to sleep just a tiny bit. And so uh, I pounced. And, ooh, looks like he was going to lose another spot behind me. Uh, so you can see how much that cost him. Uh, just being a little bit uh, going to sleep on the braking there, braking a little bit early or lifting a little bit early. I jumped up right on him, and then that seven car right behind me was all over it too. So not a spot you typically see somebody attempt to pass or pull off a pass, but um, it worked out. We're still running side by side. Oh, he got back by the seven car there. Looks like. All right, let's go ahead and these guys in second, third are still battling for position. We are on lap 8. They've been going at it hard for a while. So I'm watching this whole battle back from where I'm sitting and hoping they just keep battling because this is helping me slowly catch up to them. Let's go on board with our car here. Using a little too much of the track there. Might have touched the outside. So now I've definitely caught up. I'm here with these guys now. So we're running in 5th position right now on lap 9. Put a nose in there on Bob. He kind of has to take a little bit wider entry and couldn't quite make it work. Let's look at that for a second. Why didn't that work? So he takes a defensive line. I got a decent run coming out of that last turn, and so he takes defensive line, claiming the inside. So as we come up to the braking zone, again at the 200 marker right about here. Uh, he dives it in hard under braking from the inside, and so I can't use all the track. I can't dive any closer, and it's how much room do you want to give him? And so I gave him plenty of room. I gave him like two car widths here, basically. Um, I could have tried to give him a little bit less and squeeze him, but then when we get to this point in the turn, he might be getting into the side of my car. So uh, I probably should have squeezed him a little bit more on that. But I'm also at the limit of traction. I feel like coming in here, maybe we can see that. If we look at the right front tire, see if we slow this down. Does our right front lock at any time? Nope. Yeah, we probably could have braked a little harder coming in there. Uh, so it's all right. Live to fight another time. Again, he stays defensive. Look to the outside. Dive it a little bit harder. And definitely locked up a little bit going through there. That was the squealing you might have heard. Sliding the front end. Missed the apex there by a bit. That last turn we went through it, I'm not getting something right coming through here. You can hear the way the throttle sounds coming through here. Um, I like shift strange, get off the throttle, get back on the throttle. Uh, there's probably time to be had right here. On the throttle hard, off, brake, back on the throttle. It's probably a smoother way to do that. I'm probably losing a tenth or two through there. And locked it up under braking. Uh, Trying a little too hard, I think. Um, Locked up that right front tire. Looks like Bob locked up the right front tire there too. Um, and so that just caused this to drift wide. If we look at this in slow-mo, locked, 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 still locked. That's why we're drifting out too wide there. Um, so I'd played with the braking a little bit before this, adjusting the preload on my brake pedal, um, and taking out a little bit of play at the beginning of the brake, and then trying to change the calibration a little bit. I feel like it helped some, but still not quite perfect. So I made another adjustment. Oh, locked it up again. Switch camera angles here. So once you lock up the brake, um, especially that as long as I did going into turn two, that tire is going to heat up. And when that tire heats up, it doesn't grip as well. And so you're more likely to lock up again. So lockups can sort of breed more lockups. Oof, didn't get through there well. That black car behind me made up a ton of ground. Ooh, the three car spun. This was the guy that was battling for second for a long time, I believe. He spun on his own, um, going through that last little complex before the start finish line. So I think we lost 2 or 3 spots when I lost it going through one or going through two last lap. And then right here, I got into the car in front of me a tiny bit. Let's look at that. So we're coming in here under braking. I was really aggressive under the brakes, and car in front of me was not, and so I touched him just ever so slightly. Um, so I was just apologizing briefly there. It was sort of incidental contact, but I definitely wasn't trying to get into him or anything like that. And so I prefer to apologize, even if it's sort of accidental there. Um, just to hopefully alleviate any anger or frustration he may have in somebody getting into him. And then he lost it on his own shortly thereafter. It's unfortunate. He ran good the whole time. Um, so we're coming around. We're now in seventh spot. We'd made it as high as fifth, but that off we had it. Turn two dropped us back 3 spots, and we made up one now. So we are on lap 12 of 16. Looks like we didn't come out of didn't get through one and two very well, or turn two very well, and so this car got a run on the inside of us here. And that number 3 car behind us, the white car, he was the one running, battling for second for a long time. So he got a nose to the inside there. I wasn't going to battle too hard for that. Not that I really could, but I also figured he's quicker than me. There really wasn't much to be done there. That's one thing I like about this car class is people run pretty clean. The cars are narrow. They're kind of underpowered, and so um, because they're narrow, you can race, and because they're underpowered, uh, it really punishes any mistakes that are made. You can't sort of uh, get your way out of it just with horsepower. Um, you got to have momentum. You got to be smooth, and so uh, there's also a relatively small group of people that race these cars, and compared to some other classes. So you end up seeing the same people, and because you see the same people and you're going to keep seeing them, you really don't want to piss people off. Um, they're also generally pretty nice and pretty helpful with setups and that sort of thing. The setup I'm running is one somebody just shared with everybody. The guy set the fastest time in practice. Uh, Told everybody he put the setup. Um, he shared his setup and he left. He bailed. Uh, and so that sort of thing. Just people helping each other out and being friendly. In some other classes, you hear people getting kind of angry and lots of cursing and Oh, and that three car lost it. Um, I feel like these things are interesting. Somebody loses it in front of you. Let's go to the cockpit view. Uh, when I was less experienced, um, this would cause me to spin if somebody's spinning right near me. But the more I've done this, you can see it, not focus on it, and then just sort of slightly adjust and drive right by it. And it happens really quickly. This is half speed. I see at this point he's starting to spin. I'd already decided, okay, I'm gonna lift off a little more and go farther inside, try to stay away from him as he probably spins back towards us, which he did, and right back on it, and we barely skip a beat. Maybe lost the tenth, if that, going through there. Um, where I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, uh, I would have spun. I would focus on him too much and then spun. And you see a lot of people do that. One person spins and then a second car spins, and then if two cars are spinning, now it's very likely a third spins. So it just sort of intensifies or multiplies. Um, so we are on lap 14 of 16, sort of winding down here. So I think we're now actually in seventh spot with that car spinning, maybe. That says we're in eighth. And that was before the start finish, so I guess we are in eighth. Oh, the front end slid a lot right there. So maybe we can see this from the chase view before our chase. So I'll do this in half speed. So I'm trying to turn in, carrying a little too much speed. The front slid, the rear slid, and then the front slid. I got on the throttle a bit too hard there. I was trying to carry a little too much speed there. Um, it's a little bit hard to see from these angles. I wonder if we see it from rear chase. No, not really. But yeah, I was just pushing a little too hard, trying too hard, trying to carry more speed than the tires could hold there, and lost a little time, a little more time. Still not getting that turn quite right. But also maybe the whole race of maybe overdriving the fronts a little bit is now probably starting to cost me. Of that front just really not wanting to stick. Overdriving it meaning braking a little too hard and turning too hard, or mixing a little too much braking and turning at the same time. Uh, just overheating the fronts and punishing them. Uh, if you punish them earlier in the middle, they're not going to be there for you at the end because they're going to have built up pressure and temperature. So laps are winding down. Here's lap 15. Let's go ahead and look at our lap times. So we qualified at a 135.583, and in the race, we got down into the 134s, and that's because of the draft. Uh, I don't think I've ever done a 134 on my own. I think I did uh, low 135 once was my best, and that was earlier today in a practice session. So, whoop, yeah, I just punished those front tires too much or pushing them too hard right now. I'm not quite sure which. towards the end of the race, you get so comfortable with the feel of the car, you try to push for a little bit more, and sometimes it's not there. You're already at the limit and just didn't quite realize it until you go over the limit a little bit, and then okay, that was the limit. I gotta back it down or try something a little bit different. So this is the final lap, and so this is where we finished. Let's look at the results. Yeah, so we finished eighth, started 11th, finished eighth. I feel like that's not really the story of the race, though. I feel like getting up there close to uh, fifth and watching those battles was pretty fun. Being towards the front end of the field with some pretty quick guys. Um, Definitely some fast guys in the field there. Let's look at the laps of. Let's see, the guy that won the race. Let's see what his laps were. He did 133s, a couple of 133s, and then low 134s, and then a 133.8 towards the end, and back in the 134. So definitely quite a bit quicker. Mm, a second and a half about quicker. So it's cool. It was a fun race. I was happy with that one. Thanks for watching.